I am Trey and welcome to one of my colouring tutorials. In this tutorial I'm going to do an unusual, for me, hair colour combination. It's a fantasy design, so I'm doing fantasy type shades and colours, more vibrant than usual, and using different colour combinations to make for a striking effect. So I've already done the face and skin for this design I'm going to be doing this tutorial with, and now I'm going to be doing the hair. The design I'm using is from Colour in Heaven's Woodland Fairy Special. The artist is Christine Karron, and this is the design, and I've already done a tutorial on how I did this skin, so please do check that out. I'll put a link in the description for all the other tutorials. And now I'm going to see how I can work out this hair. Again, I'm using Castle Art pencils as I did with this tutorial. I'm going to be using Castle Art pencils throughout this design. Now, quite often I find once you've done the skin, it can look a bit harsh until you finish the hair. So the skin, I find, if it looks good until you do the hair, even if it's normal skin tones, I find that. So for this this hair, I'm going to be using pink, number 83, blue, number 100, and a dark blue, number 43. Now, it doesn't matter if you haven't got the Castle Art pencils. You can get similar tones in other pencil sets. In fact, I find that quite a lot of the pencil sets are very much the same colours. So it's just a vibrant pink, a mid-tone blue and a dark blue. Now I wanted to do the pink because I'm not sure I've used pink much with blue as a highlight, so I thought that would be a nice challenge. Also, it will pick up the pink in the skin tone. And I wanted to do the blue because it would be a contrast to the terracotta orange that I've used on the skin. And that should be a nice effect as well. So as always, I look for the lighter sections first and colour those in. I'm using the vibrant pink for the lighter sections. Just a light pressure so that I can adapt it later on if need be. Now I've got the 120 set of these and the 72 because I had the 72 set of Castle Art for quite a while, quite a good few months before I managed to get the 120. Now the wood on the pencils for the 72 sharpens so much better than the 120. The 120 tends to chew up my pencil sharpeners. So obviously they changed the wood they use for the 120, which is a shame because prior to that I hadn't any problems at all with the Castle Art pencils. Well, not in sharpening. I mean, there's some of the books I have, these pencils don't work very well with. I struggle with Amazon paper with these. And that's unusual because I have some cheaper pencils than these and they work great with the Amazon paper. It all goes down to the ingredients, doesn't it? They're all slightly different. So I'm just following the curves of the lighter sections. It looks like it might be curved upwards. I'm putting a touch of the pink, just roughly and lightly in those sections. Now I'm going to be using my medium blue, and I'll be looking at the darker sections for this colour, and if I feel there's pink needs to go in, I'll pop it in as I'm going along. And it's kind of the sections where it's got line art in that's darker, I'm going to put my blue in there. In the roots of the hair, I kind of quite often put darker colour in there. And bending away from the lighter sections, I'll be putting the blue in there as well. Now, my first layers always look really rough, patchy, because I don't like to put a lot of colour down at first. So I like to put just a small amount of colour down, just a hint really, to give me an idea of where I want my colours to go. But that also gives me the option to adapt it and change it. So it does look very rough, my colouring at first. And I find that this has worked quite well for me doing this. Then I can adapt it. If I put too much colour down, especially if you're working with quite contrasting colours as I am now, you can't do a lot of changing. So, and I don't like rubbing out. So this is how I kind of try and get round that. Just a really rough, very, very light layer at first. Now I'm going to come in with my dark blue and go in the darker sections that I feel would be darker, just to add a bit more depth to this. And they will be in the areas I've already put down the medium blue. But I'm not covering all of those, that in medium blue, just parts of it. Now they're the first layers of each of the colours I'm using, and now I'll be repeating all of that. for all the layers, but I'm just going to do some of this, only parts of this on camera to give you an idea how it's going to build up. So I'm overlapping into the blue a little bit with the pink. Filling the grain of the paper. Then my medium blue again, going over the areas I did earlier with that same colour. And I'm still very much doing light pressure here because I'm building this up slowly. And now the dark blue again. I'm doing almost like sweeping strokes with this design because I want it to look, even though it's not a normal colour, as if it's a natural air colour, because this is a fantasy design and I can get away with that kind of effect. So even though it's not, you know, a natural colour scheme, I'm still trying to colour it as if it is. So it's like broad strokes, long strokes, light pressure, and it'll build up the hair colour in strands. It should make it look quite almost natural, even though it's not natural. I hope that makes sense. So that's how I'm going to be building up the hair colour on this design. And as you can see from just a few layers, it takes quite a long time, but I'm hoping for an interesting effect. Now I'll put a few more layers down of those colours, the bright pink, the medium blue and the dark blue. And then I did a very light blend with a dry cotton bud, and then I put another layer down of each of those colours. Now I'm not using lotion on this blend, I'm just doing a dry blend because I don't want to push the blue too much into the pink. I want to keep those colours quite separate. And also I don't want to lose too much of the strokes I've put in. I just want to smooth it slightly, but not too much, because I like the texture. So that I quite often use dry blending technique when I want to keep the texture. And I can do that mostly with a dry cotton bud. I need quite a few layers down to get it to work. if you need the pigment down, but it does work with plenty of pigment. So I've managed to keep the texture, and I've got a nice gradient effect with the blue and this lovely bright pink highlights, and I really like that. I haven't used the pink and blue together before, and when it overlaps, it goes into almost like a lilac-y colour, which is nice. I'm going to be doing the lips and the eyebrows the same colours, but I'm not going to do that on camera. I just wanted to do the hair for this tutorial. And now that the hair is done, the skin doesn't look quite so harsh. It blends in quite nicely and it complements really nicely, and I'm pleased that it actually complements with the pinks picking up on both the hair and the skin. So that works as I'd hoped it would work. So I hope anybody's watched this have got some hints and tips, got you some ideas. Maybe you try different colour combinations yourselves, and anything you come up with, please do leave a comment and come and chat with me on my Facebook page. I'd love to read them and something else I can try. So I'll say bye for now, and I'll see you again with another tutorial in the near future.